Welcome to Radio 64. Welcome to Radio 64, Video Game Music Remix Radio. I'm your host, Eric Mickles, also known online as duskvstweak. Radio 64 is part of the Radio Meanwhile network. Visit radiomeanwhile.com for more information about this and other great podcasts. Find past episodes of Radio 64 on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And thank you to WRAQ 92.7 FM in Angelica, New York, for hosting us every Monday at 6 p.m. The track we opened up the show with was called Destined for Greatness by Geoffrey Taucer and Prophetic Music from ocremix.org, and that was the opening menu theme to Sid Meier's Civilization 4 Baba Yet 2, which was by Christopher Tin, and also Jeffrey L. Biggs, Mark Cromer, and Michael Curran also worked on the soundtrack. I had never played a Civilization game in my life until a friend brought home Civilization 4. I had always enjoyed Age of Empires and other sim games that I had played, like Roller Coaster Tycoon, but Civilization 4 was a whole nother beast that I was not prepared for. And just that opening menu of just looking down at the Earth during a sunset, and all it was just the camera moving around the planet in space to Baba Yet 2. Since then, it's been one of my favorite and most moving pieces in video game music. Destined for Greatness by Geoffrey Taucer and Prophetic Music, I think just kind of brings that emotion up a little bit. You've got those opening percussions, the song just slowly builds, and then the electric guitar comes in and the whole song just opens up into this rocking piece while still keeping that kind of spiritual world quality of the original track. It helps that the electric guitar just rocks as hard as it does throughout the song. Up next is a song from Sonic the Hedgehog, the first Sonic the Hedgehog. It's originally The Marble Zone by Masato Nakamura. The Marble Zone, what was that, the second level in Sonic the Hedgehog? The second or third level where there's lava and everything. Not a favorite level of mine. I can't believe it. This is episode 10. We haven't had any tracks by djpretzel, the founder of Overclocked Remix, on this one. So that's my fault. One of the reasons I've always liked this one, this is called Love Hurts, again by djpretzel, is just how funky that organ is and how it's taken the Marble Zone to turn it into this kind of pop love song. Maybe you'd hear in like the late 80s or early 90s. And then that's backed up by that groovy bass. Pretty self-aware, pretty tongue-in-cheek fun take on the Marble Zone. Cool, but at the same time goofy love ballad. So this is Love Hurts by djpretzel from ocremix.org from the game Sonic the Hedgehog. That was Love Hurts by djpretzel from ocremix.org from the game Sonic the Hedgehog. I was not a fan of most of the levels in those games. Anything that was just trying to become platforming and slowed Sonic down, I had no time for. But speaking of having time, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. We've got the Clock Town Day 1 theme being played by originally by Koji Kondo and Toru Minagishi. The Day 1, when you get to Majora, and when you start Majora's Mask and you go to Clock Town, Day 1, it's very positive. Everybody's still happy. Nobody's accepted that the moon is coming down to destroy everything. It's a pretty cheerful start of your day. And this song is called Dawn of the New Day by DocJazz4, FunkyEntropy, Theophany, and XPRTNovice. They just keep that cheerful, super positive, celebratory feel. By the end of this song, everybody's just chanting and singing along, whistling, and it doesn't matter how close that moon is to Earth, nobody is going to let their day be ruined. One of the most uplifting parts of this song is that every time you think the song has reached a certain height, it finds another one, has a fantastic final, which then calms down at the end and just kind of lulls us out of the song. But when this song is cranked to 11, it's hard not to smile. It's hard not to whistle along once you know the tune. I can't help but whistle with it whenever I listen to this tune in the car. Here we are with Dawn of a New Day by DocJazz4, FunkyEntropy, Theophany, XPRTNovice from ocremix.org from the game The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. That was Dawn of a New Day by DocJazz4, FunkyEntropy, Theophany, and XPRTNovice from ocremix.org from the game The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Probably the most cheerful thing you can get out of Majora's Mask. The game opens and it's already spooky and melancholy. Here we got a song from Final Fantasy VI. Originally it was from Area de Mezzo by Nobuyu Uematsu. This is from the album Final Fantasy VI Balance and Ruin. Maybe my favorite overclocked remix album yet. Final Fantasy VI is my favorite Final Fantasy. It's my favorite soundtrack of that series. And this album that they put out on OCR nailed the atmosphere, had a solid vision throughout all 4 discs. It's an absolute treasure. This is called Till We Meet Again by AeroZ, Jillian, Aversa, and Zircon. Jillian Aversa is the one singing. I've been a huge fan of her voice for years on OCR and other projects. She has a great album called Origins that I got on iTunes back in 2008. I've listened to so many times, and there's a song on there called Shadows that is one of my favorites. So definitely check out Jillian Aversa. And Zircon is also one of my favorite remixers. You're always going to get good stuff from any of these 3, from AeroZ, from Jillian, from Zircon. I hear a bit of Prelude, but I mean, this is mainly the music that plays in the opera scene in Final Fantasy VI, which is, one of those great scenes in video games and one of the most memorable scenes from Final Fantasy VI. This feels like a closing credits song for a movie. This is Till We Meet Again by AeroZ, Jillian Aversa, Zircon from ocremix.org from the game Final Fantasy VI. That was Till We Meet Again by AeroZ, Jillian, Aversa, Zircon from ocremix.org from the game Final Fantasy VI. Another track from an album being played. This is from the Mega Man X Maverick Rising album, which is a pretty rockin' album. You know, the Mega Man X games are far future Mega Man games. Farther than even Mega Man, who's far into the future, are the Mega Man X games. But anyway, to match that kind of hardcore, edgy Mega Man X feeling, the album was just this electric rock album that had some great jams and face melters on there. This is one of my favorite tracks from it. It's from Mega Man X2 specifically, the track being X Hunter Stage 1 by Yuki Oe. It's called X Hunted by Dominic, Ninmark, and StrangeJam. The electric that is driving this song is just so delicious. It's just the way he keeps repeating that cool and driving riff that just is tearing its way through this song. It's just so aggressive and in your face. Let's let the song tear through the radio right now. This is X Hunted by Dominic, Ninmark, and StrangeJam from ocremix.org from the game Mega Man X2. was X Hunted by Dominic, Ninmark, and StrangeJam from ocremix.org from the game Mega Man X2. Definitely check out the Mega Man X Maverick Rising album from OCR. I still need to play Mega Man X. I've got it on my Super Nintendo Mini, obviously, and if I like Mega Man X enough, I'm probably going to play more of the series through those collections. Oh man, here's a game that I loved, and I still don't really know how to pronounce it. I think it's V's? It's the game that's spelt with 6 V's that look like falling spike. V's. And this is the song from V's, or V, Pushing Onwards by Magnus Palsson. And man, did V's have a cool soundtrack. Just every track had so much energy and creativity and was so catchy and so fun. And even though there were some levels that I had to repeat hundreds of times, the tracks never got old. Magnus Palsson's soundtrack for that game had personality to spare and style just dripping through the speakers. And not to be outdone, this track is remixed by Danny Baranowsky, who did the Binding of Isaac soundtrack and Super Meat Boy, among other, amazing soundtracks. And this is called Club Baby Veal. So this remix is pretty conservative. I don't think it strays too far from the V's original tune from Pushing Onwards. But Baranowsky has done, and in his own words on the site, he's talked about how he's basically taken the V's soundtrack and put it into something like Super Meat Boy. So it's basically, if Baranowsky had done the soundtrack, this is what Pushing Onwards would have sounded like. This is Clubbed Baby Veal by Danny Baranowsky from ocremix.org from the game V's. That was Club Baby Veal by Danny Baranowsky from ocremix.org from the game Vs. And if you haven't played Vs, check it out. It's just a smart, insane, difficult platformer where you don't jump, you just reverse gravity. So you're either falling up or you're falling down, but it has great control. Every mistake is your fault, and it can be punishing. You know, I'm using the word cool. Here we got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Who's cooler than the Ninja Turtles in the 80s and 90s? And today, who's cooler than them now? Alright, so this is from the game Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. Theme you're hearing right now is going to be Technodrome, Let's Kick Shell, the Stage 4 backroom music. I had a friend in college who I introduced him to Overclocked Remix. I was like, it's cool. It's a site that just has a bunch of video game musics, and they're free, and they're all remixed. And the first game he went looking for was Turtles in Time. The Ninja Turtles ruled the arcade beat 'em up. I have to say, I don't think I actually ever played Turtles in Time that far, so I don't even think I ever got to hear this main theme. I don't think I ever got to stage 4 as a kid. This song is called Cowabunga by Juan Medrano and WillRock. I think they capture the cheesy 80s rock would have been surrounding the Ninja Turtles in their prime in the in like 87, 88. It's that synth that you can't shake. It's that prog rock feeling of the mid to late 80s. It's hard, even though a song like this rocks so hard and it comes rocking right out of the gate, it's still hard not to come out cheesy. Which, you know, I think the Ninja Turtles were like, since they love pizza so dang much. You just tell them they got this song with extra cheese, they'll give you a high five. This is from the album Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shell Shocked. Let's listen to Cowabunga by Juan Medrano and WillRock from ocremix.org from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. was Cowabunga by Juan Medrano and WillRock from ocremix.org from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. Not to be confused with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the movie, where they do go back in time. That movie probably doesn't hold up. I remember really liking it as a kid. I haven't watched it as an adult from fear that it's a bad movie. Alright, so I'm going to be doing something different with these next two songs. Normally, I introduce a song, I play it, I introduce another song, I play it. But what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to let these two songs segue into themselves, because I was listening to this track right here. This is called Broken Wings by ad.mixx and Flexstyle. And I was listening to it, then my iTunes kept playing, and I didn't realize the song had changed for a while into this song called Abandoned by God by RoeTaKa. And so one song is from StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty. The other is from Demon Souls. And whereas the song Broken Wings, it has a very spacey, atmospheric trance vibe, the Demon Souls song, Abandoned by God, has a very string-heavy, piano-heavy, melancholy, sad song. Both these songs deliver the same kind of vision of this slow march into the unknown, or into the final battle, into the next world. But I think the piano work in both these songs and the main bass, they just lead into each other very well. So I'm going to let both these songs play and segue into another, but I'll introduce both now. So the first song is Broken Wings by ad.mixx and Flexstyle from StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty, and the second song will be Abandoned by God by RoeTaKa from the game Demon Souls. Both songs found on ocremix.org. That was Broken Wings by ad.mixx and Flexstyle from StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, and Abandoned by God by RoeTaKa from the game Demon's Souls. And both those tracks can be found for free at ocremix.org. I have Demon's Souls on my PlayStation 3 to play at this moment, and so I just need to turn it on and do that. Right now I've been playing through the first Red Dead Redemption, but as soon as I'm done with that, I think I need to play Demon's Souls, because that's the kind of music we're working here. I gotta check it out. I think the closest thing I've done to be playing a Dark Souls game is the game Neo, this samurai fantasy action game that was great and reminded me of my times playing like Onimusha 1 and 2. And also finished StarCraft 2 at some point. I lived off of StarCraft as a kid. But let's our last song be the first song you hear when you start up Street Fighter 2 The World Warrior. You know, on the Super Nintendo, you put that cartridge in your Super NES, and the opening riff, that title theme that comes on, it just sent shivers through my body as a kid. Got me ready to travel the world and fight. It always had this such intense atmosphere right out of the gate that was just... It was rocking, and it didn't have a lot of time. The title theme wasn't that long, but what was there was just so memorable. The guitar that you heard was just something else. This is called Frets of Fury by Vertix. And they've expanded the title theme from Street Fighter for what was it, like 20 seconds long? They took that and turned it into a 2.5-minute song. They made something that feels like it could have been the whole title theme, that the title theme could have lasted 2 minutes, while also just shredding it up. It makes sense that the Street Fighter title theme should be this aggressive, punch you in the face electric jam. So let's listen to Frets of Fury by Vertix from ocremix.org from the game Street Fighter 2 The World Warrior. That was Frets of Fury by Vertix from ocremix.org from the game Street Fighter 2 The World Warrior. Still one of my favorite fighting games of all time. Street Fighter is just one of my favorite series of all time. Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 4, I still turn them on and get my butt kicked. Recently by my wife, who just tore me apart in Street Fighter 4, which was not easy. Which was not easy to experience. That's this week's episode. Thank you for listening to Radio 64 Video Game Music Remix Radio. I've been your host, Eric Mickles, also known online Dust vs. Tweak. You can find me anywhere on Twitter or YouTube or Twitch under Dust vs. Tweak. Remember, Radio64 is part of the Radio Meanwhile network. Please visit us at radiomeanwhile.com for more information about this and other great podcasts. Find past episodes of Radio 64 on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube. Thank you to WRAQ 92.7 FM in Angelica, New York for hosting us every Monday at 6. If you have any requests for games, remixes, source tunes, please find me on Twitter or YouTube and let me know. See you next episode.